Hello and welcome everybody to the very first Lumia Mania Duo Invitational brought to you by Wisdom Media GG. I'm your host Casanova, and joining me today is Cloud9's very own Khroen. Khroen, are you ready for all this Eternal Return Black Survival action we got coming to everybody's faces here today?
Am I? I don't know, Cass. Of course I'm ready. I'm excited to get into it. There's going to be a ton of beautiful competition today. And yeah, I'm really just like excited to get into it. So let's introduce the captains that we will be seeing here today.
Yeah, we're going to be having 18 captains. Just to break it off, we have them coming from a myriad of different games that they generally stream. Of course, Michael Udall coming over from Heroes of the Storm, history teacher from League of Legends. Turk and Cure also from Heroes of the Storm. Skaz and Nizori community members from Eternal Return Black Survival. And then Prismat alongside all that, plenty of Heroes of the Storm people. Tolki, previous Paladins Pro, and KZN also another Heroes of the Storm Pro.
Yeah, we got a lot of Heroes of the Storm people in here. Moving on over to the other 9 captains here. We got Lauber, also Heroes of the Storm. Tomsorcer, a community member from Eternal Return. Bloom and Averse, actually world champions for battle right there. So a lot of prowess there. PinkWard from League of Legends community, one of the best Shaco players. Samsora from Smash. Gummy, great card player, wonderful variety streamer as well. Kuvira from Legends of Runeterra. Fevi Knight, Bard player, League of Legends, and NA language as well.
Yeah, any language fellow Cloud9 player with you, Cloud9 streamer.
Yeah.
Going to be streaming League of Legends mostly. But of course, today we are going to be having this Duo Invitational Duo tournament. We are going to have 18 captains, which means that's 2 lobbies. We're going to have those 2 lobbies go through, and we're going to pull players from both sides. The top 4 going to advance to the finals lobby from each lobby, and then we will have a additional 9th team. There'll be a tiebreaker between the 2 5th place teams in order to see who advanced will be on the bubble. But let's go ahead and take a look at what our first lobby of the day will be. That's going to be Lobby A. Khroen, why don't you break this down a little bit for me?
Yeah, sure. We get to see the captains and I get to see who they're playing with. We got, Turk with Leon, Kurt Lutano, but I'm really gonna be in this lobby looking at Prismat and Pit Kid, both Heroes of the Storm players, but Prismat's been playing the game for a long time, more than a lot of the other Heroes of the Storm players. And also in that third slot right there, Skaz AF and Pie Master. That's gonna be a super, super scary duo here. At
Yeah,
least
I
in
love
lobby A.
I love talking about Prismat and Pit Kid because they played on teams together in the Heroes of the Storm Pro League for a very long time. Even pre HGC era, pre League era, they were
Yeah.
playing on teams in regionals. They've known each other for a really long time. They have a lot of synergy, and that's going to be really cool. I also want to bring up NA Language and Homecoming. Homecoming won the ERCS solos tournament that was run earlier on the North American region, and he is an incredibly strong player in North America. A lot of people would argue Homecoming is near the top, maybe one of the top 5 players in North America. So that duo overall could be very, very scary going into this. But all in all, we have a lot of exciting captains today. We, I think, went in expecting this tournament to be, very fun, very lighthearted. A lot of these players coming in from different games, getting to try out a game that we all love,
Yeah.
ERBS, and then in-houses sprung up, and all of these captains started grinding for hours and hours on end, getting really excited and in anticipation for this tournament. So I think the level of play is going to be a bit more elevated than we initially anticipated, and people are going to actually give the ERBS content creators like Pie Master and Skazif and Tom and Nizori, they're going to give them a run for their money.
Definitely. People have been getting real sweaty and it's fun, to grind a game, to learn it, from the ground up and get to play with all these great players. So the level of play, as you mentioned, definitely is has risen from what we originally maybe have anticipated.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, with that, I believe we're going to be starting to get into game very soon here. Really excited to catch what these players are going to be locking in for the first game of the day. I know we've done kind of a bit of our own research on what these players have been playing, but now we're finally going to get a chance to look at them as we jump into the draft. Kieran Lutano, as we've expected, going to be on that Yuki ISOL. We saw them grinding this a lot recently.
Yeah, definitely. Not a lot of surprises here. We see a lot of these players going to be playing kind of what they've been practicing instead of actually Skaz. They're on the Nadine. That's not something that I really
Ooh.
would have expected. I think we saw Skaz playing a little bit of Sicela, obviously, and then actually like yeah, not many others, honestly. There was like some Lee Dai-Lin for a little bit, but this is quite a surprise.
Yeah, Skaz on the Nadine. Now, what I like about this is they were practicing a lot of things in the in-houses, like you mentioned, the lead Lin, but that also moved Piemaster off of Leanox. We saw
Yeah.
Piemaster not playing a lot of Leanox in those in-houses, but now he has shifted back over. And well, if you don't know, Piemaster has a nasty Leanox. He is incredibly good on this character, and I think she shines in team modes more so than solos. And I think that this is a really nice pickup for them to be shifting Piemaster back over to that Leanox pick. I think it's going to bode well for them in this lobby.
Definitely. I would actually go as far as to say Piemaster is the best Linux, at least that I've seen in North America. So I think that's a great adaptation. Maybe the routing is a lot better if Skaz kind of flexes over, plays the Nadine. And we'll see, players can switch up their picks in each subsequent game, but at least they're going to be doing that for now.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the Hotel Tree of Life when that spawns. Piemaster is notorious for controlling the Tree of Lives with his Leanox, so we will see if Skaz and Piemaster go for that. It makes a lot of sense. Nadine, Leanox, I mean, that is a lot of hotel control in the early game, and we even see their starts are nearby that hotel. I think they're going to continue to stay in that left quadrant and kind of control that side of the map and play for those Tree of Lives. Really excited to see this duo play, and we'll see who can contend because PinkWard and Prismaticism have been nasty on this duo of Yuki Hedgen. It's a Shuriken Hedgen from Prismaticism. I'm really excited to see how they contend with Skaz and Piemaster in this lobby in particular.
Definitely. A lot of strong teams in this, but yeah, going back over the Pit Kid and Prismaticism, they were competing in duos tournament recently, but playing a lot of like Nadine Shukai or even like Hyun Woo there for Pit Kid, but now he's moved on over to the Yuki, and we'll see. There's actually some action going on here already. Lutano and Cure getting frisky onto Mr. Smelly.
Yeah, they started together here in Alley, and they're just straight up going on to History Teacher or Mr. Smelly, as we see here on that lead Dylan. They love this start together from the beginning and kind of bully people out of zones. We saw them do this in the in-house. It works out quite well for them, but it is a bit, I would say, coin flippy, as we've seen Cure and Lutano be a team that either is first or like eighth. They tend to fight a lot in the early game. They're very exciting to watch, but it can be a strategy that hurts them. And because in this tournament, placement is more heavily weighted than kills, I wonder if they will adapt the strategy that we've seen out of them in the past.
I think that this is a strategy they have been grinding out a lot. I would be surprised to see a bit of a later adaptation like that. Tolkien actually getting bullied out here by Leon Black. Leon and Turk going to be both controlling this dockside area. Tolkien's going to be fine here. Really no threat of dying. Just going to be forced to run, though, which is a little unfortunate because you'd want to be able to loot a lot of dock if you are a Razi.
Yeah, I mean, Leon just completely bullying Tolkien out of this dock area. We're going to see if he can actually find the loot that he needs. I mean, Tolkien has not hit his leather just yet, so he's still just on that gray pistol. Not going to be able to find those upgrades. As we look down into Factory, this is an Erendite build from Cure, so he does have that weapon completed very early, as he does run into Pulte, who's actually quite strong himself on the Magnus, is starting to bully the Yuki out of the zone. Cure does have Lutano nearby, though, so he's going to get away from that.
Cure's getting bullied all over the place. He's getting bullied there by, I believe it was History Teacher and Blizz, then ran into Pulte there. So not the best factory around here for Cure. Does have the Erendite online. Iron Sheet there dropped by Lutano. I believe that might be built into something. Picking it back up, and they're going to maybe run into Tolkien here.
Yeah, they are able to share Iron Sheets, but Pulte actually running in a maybe unadvisable situation here. Does not get caught by the Semtax from Lutano, so the root won't land. We'll see if the button up is here from Cure very soon to get those extra cufflinks to try and find a stun, but he's able to continue to dash forward. Tolkien has a lot of damage, however. He's starting to turn it back onto Cure with the dash back. Pulte gonna backstep away from Cure's ulti, but he casts it from the bush, gonna catch onto Tolkien as Tolkien goes forward and picks up that kill, and now he dodges the Semtax on Lutano with the iframes. Cure is dropped very low, but now the third party, Mr. Smelly and Blizz arriving. Blizz on that heart, going to be poking down onto Lutano, and he sings him a lullaby because good night, Lutano. He's going to go down, and that is going to be Cure and Lutano going out 9th in the very first lobby as the kills are picked up by Blizz and Tolkien, respectively.
You called it, Casanova. Cure and Lutano, while they can be great players, sometimes they do struggle. It's very much first or eighth or first or ninth, actually, in this scenario here. They're getting, man, they're getting pretty froggy in the early game. They're trying to go for the early aggression, but that's not something you can really do with that AR build. Actually, Roger with a great ult here on Homecoming.
Yeah, he lands a beautiful ultimate there, but NA Language does turn it around and get the down onto Madru as well. We see Nazori instantly go for the res. He does not decide to stick it. Probably had too much time left on there, but Adriana is still very good at interrupting if we see NA Language go for the res onto Homecoming. Nazori getting a lot of poke down. We see the Nadine dropping very low as they both look to stick the reses, but I think Nazori has it a little faster. If he does have an ultimate charge, he might be able to interrupt it. He gets it. He does land it as Madru pokes down a couple more shots on the sniper. Aya trying to pick up the kill, and it is going to be a slow and the burn down onto NA Language. Nazori and Madru win control of the Hotel Tree of Life and pick up 2 kills for themselves.
Beautiful play there. Nazori identifying that situation beautifully. If you get the res off like he did just like a second and a half earlier, can stick the res, get Madru up, and then have the ultimate charge to interrupt NA Language over there. Beautiful play, and that nets them 2 kills right now, so that's already 4 points.
Yeah, 4 points and control of the Tree of Life. We might see the Glacial Shoes picked up actually there for Nazori, as we see a little bit of trades here for Prismat and PinkWard here in Pond, looking to posture against Goofy and Collusion. Does not look like either team wants to commit fully to the fight. Priz and PinkWard look a little bit more excited about it than on the other side. We see Fuma Shuriken completed for Prismaticism. He looks pretty strong for this point in the game. You know, he's on that Schrodinger's boss on the crown. They have the Uger and Zar for PinkWard. I don't know. What do you make of this? Do you feel like this has to be Priz favored?
Yeah, I would say so here. And the engage actually is going to start here. Priz getting engaged on by Goofy. Disengage here, though.
Goofy does get onto Priz, and because of this, maybe that can get turned around. Priz with a very good kite back, and Goofy's going to jump forward to land the root. Does land, and Collusion's going to follow up, as we do have Goofy trying to chase down, landing the slow onto PinkWard. But right now, Priz with that Schrodinger's and the crown, as well as PinkWard having Imperial Crown, they're just so tanky. They have so much HP at this point in the game, and there's just not quite enough damage.
Unless they overcommit, it's really hard for them to get punished to the point where they would actually fall there. So some good disengage. They're just going to be backing up. But now Nazori and Madru trying to fight for yet another tree.
Yeah, on the second tree here, this is the forest tree. We get the stun from Madru and a knockback onto Mr. Smelly. He's going to be able to ult away with the lead land as we see the D skill coming out as Blizz is getting sniped. And one more. He's sniped from long range from downtown. Madru going to land the snipe onto Blizz. And Nazori and Madru are just picking up a lot of kills in this very first lobby, as they are going to just thirst after the heart kill and get that extra loot. And as you mentioned, that second tree, we see Nazori with a blazing dress, actually. Gonna get that Enad going on this Adriana.
That's interesting, actually. Not the item I would have expected to come out, but they're going to get the second tree. We'll see what that goes into there. But they are so accelerated in this lobby already, getting some early kills, the most kills in the lobby so far, getting the Trees of Life as well. They are a definite threat to get a win in this game number 1.
Yeah, they are pretty accelerated on these items, but also the mastery from all of the fights that they've had so far. We see, I believe that is attack 50 for Madru, and Adriana is going to be on that other incinerary grenade. They're incredibly strong. We do see potential fights here on Ali, but looking at this, the builds here from Kiara, how do you feel about this Missile Team build in general versus maybe the crit Kiara guild we've seen as well?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this a couple of days ago. I think that the crit build is going to be great in solos, but maybe the miscellaneous build is a little bit tankier overall. It's going to provide a little bit more tankiness, more frontline for Collusion, who is so squishy on that Emma.
Yeah, but we are going to see Skaz trying to push forward. We actually saw that first Q from Skaz chunked Collusion about 40% of his HP. So this Nadine is very strong right now. I don't think many people want to be fighting into Piemaster and Skaz, as we see Piemaster trying to get onto Goof, but he does land the root, so Piemaster did have to back up, but Skaz just has so much damage right now, and he does tag the slow, so now it's up to Piemaster to get in range for the crowd control. Collusion gets poked down once more. I mean, they're just continuing to chase. Finally, Collusion is caught up with. But he does have that jump away. The Emma with so much mobility as Goof starts to try and turn it back around, but the ultimate is going to time out. Collusion trying to continue the poke. That is the Rupture onto Goof. He's going to be taking so much damage from Piemaster here as that Q does connect for Skaz. They are able to pick up that kill, and they are going to take down both members of this team. Collusion and Goof going to fall, and that is 2 kills going over to Skaz. And that team is going to be able to pick up a lot off of this as far as Mastery is concerned and start to try and accelerate themselves to contend with Nizori and Madru.
Definitely. Skaz and Piemaster were in the vast control of that fight for so long. There's maybe but a single like moment where it looked like Goofy and Collusion could have turned, but it really didn't net into anything there. As soon as the Kiara ultimate timed out, Collusion wasn't accelerated enough to provide enough damage with that build. It was just 2 Skaz Piemaster favorites. Now they pick up 2 kills. And we look on over to Nizori and Madru again. It might turn into a lobby where it's, Skaz Piemaster versus Nizori Madru towards the end there, but there's still a few more teams left. There is still that Pit Kid Prismaticism duo that is so scary. Toki and Pulte as well. I think Toki is one of the best Razi players in NA, let alone in this tournament here. So a lot of good competition here. And Wickeline actually going to be spawning in just about 45 seconds. Madru and Nizori already running into the red here. They're probably going to go on over to the pawn zone and wait for it. They don't have to run all the way around the rest of the map. So just going to eat a little bit of timer right now and try to pull Wick from there.
Yeah, they eat quite a bit of timer. We did see the Glacial Shoes on Nizori. I just wanted to note that really quickly as he did pick up 2 Tree of Lives. So he's got the Blazing Dress and the Glacial Shoes. They have a lot of mastery as well. But we jump down to Toki and Pulte, and they're both full build, Khroen. I mean, the Magnus Razi, how do you feel about that? Their odds in this in the remaining teams left?
Yeah, I think it's great. Well, actually, Leon here with a great hook.
Does get the flay, but does not interrupt the mobility from Skaz as he is able to rope away. But he is getting caught on by Turk, and Turk does iframe the knockback into the wall. He's able to stick to Skaz, and he should be able to put him down with this Razi having the Electron Blaster, having so much damage. And Skaz is going to go down to Leon Black and Turk, the heroes of the Storm players, coming in hot against the ERBS creators, actually able to pick up a kill in this first lobby and take down Skaz. When we thought Skaz and Piemaster were looking like one of the strongest setups to take this lobby so far, at least for this game. Nizori and Madru, though, getting Wick on the other side of the map.
That was a great play there. You mentioned it by Turk. Iframing the crossbow skill there, not getting stunned out, able to secure the Skaz kill there. If you get onto a Nadine, especially after she already uses her 1 escape, she's just going to fall there, especially to that high damage output, like a Linux, like a Razi as well there. So got to maintain awareness when it comes to positioning in these fights. You can't get caught out just like that. And Leon Black will be picking up that 1 kill for their squad.
Yeah, we see Nizori and Madru on the chase right now, but before we talk about that, that is another hook landing by Leon Black, but it is going to be met with a coup de grace from Pit Kid, and oh my god, so much damage coming out of the dual sword Rampage, and Prismaticism and Pit Kid are going to take down both Leon and Turk, picking up 2 kills for themselves, their first action of this game, as we do see them finally going to be able to pick up this loot, get some mastery for themselves, and look to contend with the rest of this lobby going in towards the final zone. They will have to face off against Nizori and Madru with that Wickeline, though, and that is going to be the big concern for this overall. So looking at what we have left here, Khroen, how do you feel about the lobby going forward, going into the finals square? Who do you feel like has the massive advantages here?
That's what I was waiting for right there from Pitkid and Prismat to really come online, get some kills under their belt to not fall too far behind in the mastery situation there. We see the dominance. Like that fight, we saw Turk and Leon Black. Leon landed that great hook. It looked like it was going to be some kills yet again. Turk even I-framed the Yuki ultimate there, again with great utilization of that kit, but it just was not enough. Pit Kid, that dual swords Yuki is so much damage output, and the Fuma Shuriken build from Prismaticism. Usually when we think about Hedgen, we think about bow Hedgen. We're going to be building elemental bow, but no, Shuriken skill is still pretty good as well, and it's so much damage. They're going to be a big threat moving on into the late game, and honestly, I think they are a little bit advantaged just compositional-wise.
Yeah, compositionally, they may have an edge, but we have to take into account these builds and the Wickeline buff from Madru and Nizori. We saw that that is going to be a Mithril Shield alongside the Glacial Shoes and the Blazing Dress on Nizori, which is going to give him a big advantage as far as items. That's a very strong RNG build. And also Madru was able to pick up Boots of Hermes, which is going to help him set up very good positions on that Sniper Aya.
Definitely so. We can't count out actually the potential of Pie Master uh, and History Teacher to kind of team up here. If your duo is dead, you can form up to a quote unquote duo of 2 players there. So being both the solo players, that is something to keep in mind as we approach, this final zone. We'll get to it in a few minutes. So with the lead dial in and the Leanox AoE will still be able to unfortunately hit the lead dial in there. But it can kind of throw a wrench in the plans of other teams.
Yeah, absolutely. We could see them look to try and go up for that squad up, trying to pull themselves a little bit further ahead, just try and get even higher placements, but trying to take out another one of these duos. But it's going to be very tough for them in an uncoordinated fashion to deal with any of these duos that are remaining with the amount of items that they've got, with the mastery they've been able to farm. Only Toki and Posty are probably the ones that are a bit behind because they haven't fought just as much as Nizori and Madru. They could be farming plenty themselves, as Pitkid and Prismaticism are going to be moving on through the alley, trying to run away from Nizori and Madru. They really want to time out this Wick buff. It is 7 minutes, and I think it's probably about half done at this point.
Yeah, just about gonna be half done. Those last 7 minutes, they took it out pretty much immediately at that like 10:05 mark. So yeah, about like 3.5, 4 minutes left to go on that. Prismat and Pitkid going to be both porting here into the forest area. No one here really to contest. There is Tolki and Pulte here actually, maybe finding Pie Master.
Yeah, we're going to see the Magnus go onto the bike, trying to chase down onto Pie Master. Tolki, though, on this Razi has so much chase potential. So unless Pie Master can create enough space, which he may have, he is going to go down. Pie Master is so fast on this Leanox. We're going to see if Tolki can land this slow. He does connect, and that should give Tolki enough room to chase down and pick up one more kill for their team, as Pie Master is going to fall. That is a little bit more for Tolki and Pulte.
Yeah, that's going to be great. Picking off one of these solos there, getting a bit more of that loot, maybe some extra food as well. Tolki is securing one. It was a great slow there at the end by Pulte to make sure that kill goes over so they don't have to waste too much of the red zone timer. Actually, if they had gone further into Cemetery, it would have been a little scary when it comes to the end game zone there.
Absolutely, we do see Pitkid and Prisma. They are at 11 mastery right now. They're pretty strong in this lobby, not quite to the 14 that they need for the second skill upgrade, which with Caltrops and Dual Sword Rampage is an insane breakpoint for this duo. They are still a ways off of that, so not sure if they will get there in time this game. And Tolki and Pulte are setting up a little bit of a bush camp here. There's not many other places to go. It's just a matter of if they want this fight. If they can get onto the Hedgen, it might end up working out, as Priz is going to face check, and that is going to be a stun into the wall. The bite going to miss, though, and Prismat might be able to get away because of that. The coup de grace going to connect onto Magnus, and the root follow-up is there as Prismat tries to poke away, but they have been split up, and now Pitkid is being chased down. Pulte trying to connect with the slow, going to land it, but it looks like Tolki calls it off. They might not want to chase too far, afraid of the third party. They do not know where their other opponents are, and they are going to slow it down. If that Magnus bite connects, do you even feel like it was enough? Prismat looks so tanky on this Hedgen.
It was probably enough to warrant them to continue chasing, but with it missing, it's going to make it a little bit awkward to want to really, really aggressively go for that fight, especially considering the turn potential from the Prismat ultimate still being available. They are just going to give each other respectable distance right now. They really want to wait for their ultimates to be back up, especially that Magnus bike. The Razi ultimate will probably be back up at this point already, but Pitkid and Prismaticism are giving chase. It looks like they don't want to let this fight go away from them.
Yeah, they want it now that they've healed up quite a bit. Prismat is going to be able to have his ultimate up right now. He actually has it. Coup de grace is about halfway done for Pitkid. The bike will be up faster for Pulte, but they must feel like they are behind too much. Pitkid did hit that level 16, so this next coup de grace is going to be an insane amount of damage.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be Pulte and Tolki retreating. Now, Priz and Pitkid should not be able to catch up, but this is going to corral Tolki and Pulte into the potential of Madru and Nizori coming in for a third party, and we could see a very large fight if they continue to give chase, as everyone is collapsing into school, which I believe is going to be our final zone.
Yeah, looks like it. The history teacher also used that lead dilate ultimate to just get on out of there. Thought if they actually, if there was a fight between Tulki, Pulte, and Pitkin Prismat, there might be able to be a third-party situation there, but it didn't actually end up being anything. There is a couple of locations actually in school that you can hide, and this is not one of them here for history teacher. Actually, if they go around to near their archery range, there is a little bit of a wall that you can hide behind, but their timer is down to now 10 seconds. There was a timer of about 12 on Madru there. Just gets back in here, but you don't really have any room to run at this point if you are a history teacher.
Yeah, history teacher's gonna try and make it back, but he does not have time to go anywhere. He's gonna be on 1 second, and now Nizori's gonna find him. They don't have the wick buff anymore, but it's just gonna be Mr. Smelly, history teacher, trying to run away as two teams vie for the kill, and Pulte's gonna be the one to secure it. So that will be 2 points for their team, getting that kill on to history teacher, taking that away from Nizori and Madru. So we have this final zone kind of coalescing. Only Pulte is not quite to level 16 to have that third rank in his bike ability. We are moving towards this. Which team do you feel is advantageous in this school final zone with that final box?
Well, Adriana does have a lot of control, and Madrid, the sniper Aya, having that long range, I would think they are going to be slightly advantaged here. If it's just everyone just kind of standing around, not really wanting to commit, because it's really awkward if you're the one to commit to an engagement. It's just going to let the third duo there get a free third party situation. But Nizori and Madru going to be looking for a little bit of aggression here onto Pulte and Tulki, just kind of chasing them out. I suspect once the timer gets down to that zone closing, it is going to be Madru and Nizori who should have control of the zone at that point. We'll see what actually happens, though.
Yeah, Madru just trying to farm up a bit more mastery, getting as many poke damage hits onto Tulki and Posty, getting those pop shots off. As Prison Picket actually are cutting off Tulki and Posty. They're trapping them in the gymnasium, potentially looking for a fight here. I mean, they're getting very aggressive. I will say that we don't want to talk too much about a final zone without mentioning traps and how much of an impact they can have. We saw Nizori and Madru put down a fire trap already near the gymnasium, and I'm wondering if they're going to have a lot more in the tank to start placing towards this final zone as we do get to the final minute before it is all closed off. They are chasing onto Pulte.
Yeah, Pulte shouldn't be able to die here. Has the bike just in case, but probably won't even need that. There is a great pinch here, by the way, with Pitkit and Prismat.
Yeah, he does get in, and the dual sword rampage is going to deal so much damage to Tulki, but Tulki is going to get away. Pulte dropping very low as well. They're both able to escape for now as Madru and Nizori come in for the third party, and Priz and Pitkit are trying to poke away at Nizori as well, but they cannot commit too heavily just yet without being in danger of getting caught up in the third party overall. We see Pulte and Tulki trying to take control of the zone. If they have traps, they can get very good position in this final school square. And we are going to see Prismaticism and Pitkid moving towards the zone as well. Madru and Nizori following suit, and it looks like we are going to have 3 duos remaining in this final square going for a fight as Pulte ambushes onto Madru, but the ultimate from Tulki does not connect. Not going to be able to do any damage there as we have 10 seconds remaining before the timers start to tick away, as we have Prismaticism and Pitkid taking control of the zone. Both of these teams having some fire traps, but not too much else as they start to set those up. Tulki and Pulte waiting for their time to come in as they were ticking timer, but now they have been able to take a corner of the zone. I will say that Tulki and Pulte feel very disadvantaged with the poke coming out of Hedgen and out of the Aya and the Adriana as they're poking away, but we see some of these traps popping off, not getting any damage, trading back and forth. Tulki and Pulte eating timer. Prismat and Justin, or Pitkid finally going in. They're going to get the stun down, and we're going to see the coup de draw connect onto Madru, not able to do quite enough damage as Tulki and Pulte are going to push forward and finally go for the third party as they chase out the Yuki. They're going to be able to pick up the kill onto Pitkid as Prismaticism zones out Nizori. Nizori, having very little timer remaining, is going to get chased away and taken down by Tulki, and now it is Priz in a 1v2 as Tulki and Pulte will be the ones that push him out as he's going for the res. 5 seconds left. I don't think he's going to have time to get the Yuki back into the zone. He's going to pick him up, but he will just explode, and Priz is going to finally move his way down, but Tulki's going to have all the damage that he needs. Prismaticism teleports back in, but he should not have enough to take down both Tulki and Pulte. He's too tanky on the Magnus, and Tulki takes him down. That is going to be a first place in game 1 for Tulki and Pulte with 6 kills.
Wow, what a beautiful display there. I thought there was no way that in the school area, Tolkien and Pulte would be able to get out with both of them, let alone heal back up and come back for the victory there. But we talked about it. Whoever engages first in that final, three duos left probably isn't going to win. When Pit Kid went in, he had a great dual sword rampage there, did a lot of damage, but it left them in an unadvantageous position and was capitalized on beautifully by Tolkien and Pulte there, going to be able to take one of the, each of the members of one of the duos out and then just clean up there at the end. That was very, very well played.
It was extremely well done. I mean, we talked about how we felt like Tolkien and Pulte were the most disadvantaged going into that, with there being a Hedgen and an Aya and a Adriana being able to poke away at them in their short range, but they were able to hold on and wait for the other two teams to fight and were able to finally sneak in, pick up those kills, and steal away that first place. But just looking at the scoreboard here, Khroen, I mean, go ahead and break down this game, kind of that top four for us.
Yeah, I mean, Tolkien and Pulte first place. They had 3 kills each, netting 6 kills on top of the 18 points for first there. That's going to be huge, huge start here. Pit Kid and Prismat, I think they're one of the best teams in this tournament. So no surprise that they got at least a second. 3 kills to their name. Madra and Nizori also 3 kills. But taking a look at the builds as well, actually, there are a bunch of not as many legendary items as I might have expected. There is a couple of Boots of Hermes out there between Prismat and Madru. Nizori obviously having that blazing dress and those glacial shoes. But in first place there, all you need is EOD boots for legendaries and a little bit lower mastery there on the Magnus. But even still, some great performances there. Even history teacher on the lead dial in, Mr. Smelly, ratting it out to getting a fourth is not bad.
Yeah, he was able to hold on. They picked up the kill in the early game, but Mr. Smelly was able to just chill out and escape lead island. Very good at escaping. He was able to use that ultimate to get away many times. And,
Yeah.
we saw Skaz and Piemaster fall fairly early on. They were able to pick up some kills, and we'll see if they can bring it back in the future games. We do expect this team to be one of the best in the entire tournament. And I
Oh yeah.
think that, they even had a good start, but it was just a great play out of Leon landing that hook in that mid game, picking up Skaz and actually being able to shut down one of the tournament favorites.
Definitely. I think that goes exactly to show that you can be, I mean, at least for my power rankings, disadvantaged, but still, Net Lobby wins. Like, this is such close competition here between all of these teams. I believe we do have our scores ready for game number one, so let's take a look.
Yeah, let's look how it shakes up after game one. Tolkien and Pulte, of course, going to be in first place with 30 points. They got the first. Then we have Prismat and Pit Kid at 22, and Nizori and Madru at 20. And then we see Skaz and Piemaster were able to pick up 14 points, tied up with History Teacher. It's going to go Turk, NA Language, KZN, and then Cure in that order. And we'll see if some of these people near the bottom can catch up. If they're able to grab a first place, they're going to shoot all the way back up the rankings. All you need to hit in this first lobby is that top four to ensure that you are safe.
Yeah, top four to ensure, and maybe you'll get in if you win the tiebreaker between that, 4 and 5 place scenario. But we'll get into that more later on into the day. But after that dominant performance from Tolkien and Pulte, I would say they're most likely going to be ones that are moving forward. When it comes to Kieran Lutano there at the end, they definitely got their work cut out for them. They are very, as you mentioned earlier, first or ninth in this case, gamers, and we got the ninth. Will we see the first? That is the question.
Yeah, I mean that really is the story I'm looking at when I look at Kieran Lutano. They're both incredibly strong players. Both of them have been challenger in League of Legends. Both of them were professional Heroes of the Storm players in the HGC. They played on the same team. They have a lot of synergy. They are very, very good at MOBAs mechanically. And that's where we see them really shine is when they get through that early game, they get their loot, they get their items, they get to the late game, their mechanics shine through and they are great in the skirmishes. But sometimes we see them maybe screw up with their pathing, take a bad fight here and there with their, their confidence, their swagger coming in, and well, they get taken down very early. So I'm gonna have my eyes on them. If they live a long time, I expect them to do well. But if they die early, well, obviously they died early. So what are you gonna say?
Yeah, definitely. There's a couple of changes here. Looking at the compositions coming up, Mr. Smelly, our history teacher, going from that lead Dylid to now the Razi. I believe NA language now, also going to the Nadine. It's not locked in yet. Oh, actually changing it up, going for that
Ooh.
Stella and the Hedgen. That is something that we have seen Homecoming and NA language practice. So I'm really excited to see them bring it out here in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean the Homecoming Sisela, he always brings it out as like the third character
Yeah.
in solos or in solos tournaments mostly, but he talked about it a lot as being kind of a character he likes for squads, he likes for duos. Normally we'll see him on the Nadine or the Yuki, but Now we're seeing him on the Sissela. We've seen it a couple times. He gets very aggressive on this pick, so I'm excited to see with this pairing of Sissela and it was Hedgen, right? I wonder if they're going to get very aggressive. I think they go double Shuriken and they go double Caltrops when they go this early.
Yeah, I think so too. They do go for that double shuriken. That's going to be super super strong here. Still see Blizz on that heart. I know you're excited to see heart coming into today, so I'm glad that we get one here for you.
Yeah, we get one heart. Maybe no Suichi gonna be picked up at all. As much as I want Tom to play it later today, unfortunately, I doubt he will be with the recent nerfs. I know we saw him practicing mostly Adriana. It does look like there was a bit of a bug with the load in, so we are gonna just remake that really quickly, guys, and then we'll get going with game number 2. But yeah, looking at that, very excited to see this lobby. History teacher on Razi. History teacher's got some good mechanics, so that one is pretty exciting to me overall to see that switch up.
Definitely, and yet another Raz. I gave praise to Tulki Razi, and I think for good reason earlier. Obviously, seeing them come out with a lobby win, but Turk is still a very very solid Razi. He's one of the heroes of the Storm players, very solid at mechanics. And Turk, honestly, in watching some of the analysis, he kind of pops off from time to time. It's
Mhm.
not as consistent, I would say, but does really have moments of greatness. So if we add yet another Razi to the mix, if they can test each other around that dock area, we know Leon and Turk are controlling that dock area. Is that going to end up being good for them? Are they gonna get punished for it?
Yeah, and I also wonder if this adaptation is a history teacher wanting to get out of Alley. He got bullied very early on by
Yeah,
Lutano and Kier pushing him out of his first zone, and maybe he
true.
just wants to be, starting somewhere else. But as you mentioned, a lot of the Razi starts should be pretty contested. We're gonna have Tolki, we're gonna have Turk, gonna be fighting in those areas, and most of the Razi paths are fairly similar, unless maybe it's a Magnum Boa build. Now, Passant is in this tournament; he's playing later. He has been kind of known for liking the Magnum Boa on the Razi, and I wonder if History Teach has that build maybe lined up.
Perhaps Magnum Boa did just get buff, interestingly enough. I personally do like Magnum Boa a lot. I know a lot of Razi players do like that Electron Blaster instead, but with the changes, I wouldn't be surprised to see that come into play here. You do have to take into account everyone's going to be, aware of each other's pathing at this point. If they didn't maybe do, the research beforehand, scouting in houses, they can definitely see what happened in game number 1, look at that and say, okay, there's going to be people like Kieran Lutano both starting alley. I don't really want to be there. We're going to see people like, again, Leon and Turk controlling dock say, ooh, okay, maybe we can be strong on them faster and contest them, or we just want to stay out of that area completely. So we'll have to see what adaptations are made to the routing and the pathing, because that can have a huge impact in the game.
Yeah, we're gonna have a chance to see that. We're gonna see if those adaptations come through. We are having some issues with the in-game client here, trying to get everybody into lobby. So we're gonna run to a short break, but when we return, we'll have game 2 of Lobby A in Lumia Mania. Don't go anywhere. Hey, all, welcome back. We just wanted to give you a quick update on the problem we're having right now. We are just sorting out some lobby issues with the players. It may take a little bit longer than anticipated, so we're going to go back to a little bit of a longer break. And when we come back, we will, of course, have the continuation of Lumia Mania Lobby A going on with Game 2. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Lumia Mania. We have settled our problems that we were having, and we are ready to jump into game number two. Khroen, I mean, we had an amazing game number one. We saw Ulti and Tolki take that one. But going into game two, what are your predictions, man? Who do you think is going to come out on top? Just bold predict. Just throw one out.
Oh man, you know I hate doing this. The bold predictions. I hate being wrong. I am going to actually throw out a spicy one here and say it's going to be a Cure and Lutano
Ooh.
dub. I think we saw the ninth, and now it's ready to see. We're ready to see the first. I think they're going to make some adaptations. Recognize, okay, we can't chase like we did in game number one. Can't make that mistake again. They're going to play it a little bit slower, get to that end game, and just be able to out mechanics people. That's what you referenced earlier. Mechanics, while that isn't the only thing that's going to let you succeed in this game, it is a solid one. I think they can recognize where their mistakes were made in the non-mechanic section in game number one and adapt in turn.
Ooh, and spicy change up as well. We talked
Oh,
about history teach going to Razi, but Skaz Piemaster switching over to Magnus Hart, completely shifting away from the
wow.
previous strategy.
That is super interesting, actually. We're expecting, or not really knowing if anyone's going to play Heart here, but now we have two Hearts in the game. Pie Master on that Heart, I haven't quite seen much of it all, as well as the Skaz on Magnus. That's going to be something to watch maybe in that mid-game area to see kind of how they're adapting. We do have the Razzies, of course, in this beach and uptown area. Tulki kind of getting, okay, Turk getting inside track, so Tulki is forced to loot all the way over there and kind of move towards uptown, but maybe he still has to loot a bit more of beach. See Nozori obviously in that avenue area. Maju going to be TPing out, actually getting smacked by Skaz
Skaz.
there. I mean, that's just what you do, right? You get that,
Yeah.
couple second advantage if you can. That's why players will start CC. Say if you're Cicella, you start your pull. If you're Magnus, you start your little stun knockback there. And things like that. So there's some good, cheeky, advantageous plays that you can make.
Yeah, absolutely. Just get a little bits of advantages here and there can help you in the long run. As once again, we have seen this before, Khroen. Leon Black going to be bullying Tolki out of Uptown. Actually, we do even see that Turk is chasing behind on the minimap, and Leon is not really giving this up. I mean,
No.
Tolki should be able to run away. Ooh,
Ooh.
if that had connected, Tolki might have been doomed. But with this, Tolki should just be able to run away. Leon chasing another zone, I guess wanting to loot here as well in dock. So just chasing Tolki all the way to dock and saying, okay, well, now I'm in dock, I'll loot.
I wonder if Tolkien even has the carbonated water at this point, though. I'm not sure. We might actually see a little bit of an engage here between Blizz and History Teacher and Piemaster and Scaz. Oh, just gonna give themselves just a nice hey, hello, what's up? I'll auto you once or twice. Ooh, a TP coming in though. There's a lot of people in the factory.
Yeah, Tolki's like, oh, well, why, hello there, Blizz and Mr. Smelly. Is going to get chased down quite a lot there, and Hart does so much damage in the early game, but there is no SP left on Blizz here, and Piemaster looking to maybe take advantage of that, chasing down onto Blizz, landing plenty of abilities here, gonna dash forward, might be able to catch up onto Blizz, one more auto, going to get the down, and Piemaster going to take down the other Hart as we see Tolki and Polti sitting off in the wings, and once again, it is Blizz falling very early, and it is up to History Teacher to try and survive, as Piemaster still corralling Mr. Smelly with Skaz. History Teacher going to try and run away, getting knocked back into the wall by Skaz. The stun doesn't land and he jumps over, but you can't escape this early game Heart. And it is going to be two very early kills for Skaz and Piemaster, trying to kick things off right, as that is going to be the completed guitar and just utilizing that early purple weapon to get very aggressive.
Yeah, I believe that was Teen Spirit that was built already there. So a great power spike, be able to get those early 2 kills, and that kind of acceleration is going to be exactly what you need in a lobby like this, especially because they are kind of middle of the pack. They need to, at least continue their performance or, secure first to be able to move on to the finals. Tolki here is getting a bit of a power spike, finishing a lot of items there in that factory area. So they're going to be chilling. And at least if you're Kier Lutano, you're like, all right, I dodged ninth, so we're doing better than the last game already. And I'm still going to stick with the prediction that they're going to win this one. But
Oh.
we'll see that in a long time. We see Goofy and Collusion here in the pond area getting bullied out by Homecoming in NA language. But maybe with
Yeah.
the poll connecting soon from Homecoming, they can find a catch here.
Yeah, we'll see. The Root going to try and land onto Homecoming. Goof actually wants to turn this as they start to chase down, but the Root going to land as well from NA language. And it looks like everyone is just going to back away from this. as we
Yeah.
do see Homecoming and NA Language still trying to push into Pond at the very least, but they don't seem to want to commit to the fight as they try and finish up these items. We see the Jade Charm for Homecoming is already complete, and the Wind and Fire wheels going to be available for NA Language.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think Collusion and Goofy want to really turn there because Collusion's level 5 yet, no ultimate. And if you're an Emma without ultimate, that is not gonna be a fun time there in the slightest. Moving on over towards PitKit and Prismaticism here. They are, again, a scary, scary duo here. One of the teams that made it into the final three, and I believe they ended second in game number 1. They usually do have a bit of a slower start, but that's okay here, right? You just need to get those consistent placements to be the top 4 teams, guarantee move on. Looks like Turk and Leon here actually maybe getting into a bit of a fight. Yes, against Kier Lutano.
Kier and Lutano once again fighting early, and they've gotten split up. Lutano looking like he's going to fall, and Turk going to pick up that kill. Turk and Leon have been doing exceptionally well in the mid-game skirmishes. We talked about how Turk sometimes kind of smurfs it on the Razi. He's got pretty good mechanics on. He's pretty clean with those iframes. And once again, they're getting into action early and finding a kill. And, well, I mean, your prediction is currently in shambles with Lutano going down here, but Kier maybe can clutch it out towards the end, looking for a big third party. We'll see if he's able to rat away on this Yuki.
Yeah, this is where I hard pivot, and this is why I say I don't like to make bold predictions like this, especially in a battle royale type game. Okay, Leon and Turk actually, or yeah, Leon and Turk not really realizing that, oh hey, Dock is closing, we need to get on out of here. So they're gonna lose a bit of their timer, probably around half, just because of that slight misplay. Shouldn't be too big of a deal. Maybe they'll get punished in the final zone there. Kier is just going to be solo right now in Uptown, trying to just get whatever loot that he can. He was near full builds, but now again, Piemaster and Skaz around this tree area. We know they like him. Maybe not for these test subjects, however. And it looks like that zone will go on over to Prisma and PitKid.
Yeah, it is going to go to Prison PitKid, which is huge for them because I've seen in the past just how many RNG items are good on those two characters. We're going to look for things like Scotty, Boots of Hermes. We're going to be looking at even things like Glacial Shoes. There's so many different items that they want to look for, and getting those early Tree of Lives can help them so much.
Definitely. See, Prismat. It's such a tanky Hedgen build here with that Schrodinger's box and the Sunset armor and the crown as well. So much HP that you have to get through. Okay, you're not going to have like as much damage, say, as you might expect a Hedgen to pull out, but you're going to be so tanky. You're going to be able to disengage out of a lot of fights that you don't really want at all. If you don't want to fight, boom, you can just run away. You can leave, and you're probably not going to get punished for it because of that. Cure still in Uptown area here. We see not many people in zones with each other. There's Homecoming team with that Goofy team in Alley, but they're at the opposite sides of it, so it really shouldn't be too much action right there for now.
Yeah, I mean, we see this auto arms on Turk, though, on that Razi. Very, very powerful currently. Having that so early alongside with the mastery from the fights. It's Kier is just he's gonna hide. He is going to be playing very slow on this Yuki, trying to make sure that he doesn't run into anyone, hearing those footsteps run past him and just kind of staring against the wall, Blair Witch style.
Yeah, that's correct if you're Kier, right? Like if you get found around the map by a duo, you're just dead. You want to stick into spots where people aren't usually going to check, and that is going to be that Uptown bush that we saw him in there. There's a bunch of spots all across the map. I wonder if Kier has the game knowledge, however, at this point to recognize where all those spots are, to rat it out, and maybe, get a top 3, if not maybe even a second place placement there, because that would still be good, even though he is solo right now. I would honestly take that as a prediction win if Kier can rat it out to a second.
Absolutely. I mean, it's kind of cheating, but we'll take it. We'll take it here. I would say, I would agree that is a big win for Kieran Lutano if he can make it that deep into this game. We actually have a lot of teams kind of congregating around Forest at this point, as the Tree of Life does just spawn in Cemetery. So we'll see who tries to pick that one up. I do expect Priz and PitKid potentially to move over that way, as they do love those Tree of Lives with this setup. Piemaster and Skaz going to back off, make their way towards Avenue, maybe try and grab some very early control for Wickline.
Yeah, it'd be another minute and a half just about until Wickline's available. But you do want to get that avenue surveillance. Make sure you get the cams all ready and set up for that one. They are moving towards its area. And Piemaster's build is super strong right now. The only thing that really can be improved upon is going to be that Laurel Wreath for the head over Motorcycle Helmet. But, you know, without the tree, it's kind of whatever. You're not going to be that lacking with the Motorcycle Helmet. It's still huge. It gives you that vision range. It gives you that health, which is really important for the heart. Because without that, you're going to be really, really squishy if you get caught ever.
Yeah, the other interesting thing about Piemaster's build is he actually went for the Teen Spirit, which is a very fast build. And we saw it come online very early and they got kills because of it, but it doesn't scale super well. So I'm curious if Piemaster at some point is going to be building towards an upgraded guitar like maybe the Wall or Wonderful Tonight and switch to that later on in this game to go one of those deeper scaling builds as they actually are moving towards this tree and Skaz and Piemaster are going to get it. So that Laurel Wreath you talked about might be getting picked up by Piemaster.
Yeah, might go online. We'll see in but a bit here. And yeah, you're talking about, I think optimally, of course, Piemaster would want to move on to, I think, Wonderful Tonight. If he, you know, they get a Meteorite online, that would be huge because still being on the Teen Spirit, while it is the early power spike, as you mentioned, late game, meh. Not as much damage output as you would like here. Moving on out from his hiding position earlier. Has Mithril Helm now, at least, so it's pretty good. Got lucky getting that Mithril online. Turk over here with the Auto Arms, with the Crusader's Armor actually as well. We don't see that one built on Razi too often, but see if that's going to be good here. But now Pit Kid, Prismaticism, just scaring off Nizori and Madru, giving each other some respectable distance, and now Wickeline has spawned. Then moving on out of the research center here, and it looks like Prismat and Pit Kid, we know they'd like to fight over this. They're in prime position, at least right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is looking like it could be starting a fight for Priz and Nizori on the other side. They both want this wick line, and they're willing to fight over it. The coup de grace gonna miss, but there is a fear down on Amadru. That is Sniper Aya gonna do the blank cartridge, gets the stun down, and they're trying to continue to poke away. They're both very low, both sides taking a lot of damage and trading hefty blows, but overall, the poke advantage is on the side of Nizori and Madru. They continue to try and snipe away. Madru looking to face check here, but there is no coup de grace. There is no ultimate from Prismaticism on that hedge, and they're going to have to back away. And that's going to allow Wickeline to try and start to run away, I believe, as Collusion and Goofy come in for potentially some third-party threat.
Yeah,
Wickeline
being around here, there's 4 teams in here. This is going to get spicy really quick, Casa.
Yeah, it absolutely is, as we see Collusion and Goofy getting pushed towards the top side, getting chased on both sides of this. The root gonna land onto Collusion. He jumps past, but there was an opportunity for Pit Kid to go in. However, Nizori and Madru are just behind. And again, they just keep posturing. No one wants to commit because they could get third-partied and crushed here. I'm gonna have to see. I'm gonna have to keep track of that wick line to see if any of these teams can sneak away and grab it. They continue to move around in this zone and posture. On the top of our screen, we even see Leon Black and Turk in Temple starting to make their way down, potentially adding to this fiesta going on in the Pond Avenue area.
Hey, if you're the team that's able to secure Wickeline and get out, that's going to be huge because not only does it give you that power spike and that you know, over time buff, that bleed from the Wickeline buff, no one's going to want to fight you, so you're kind of just going to get placements because of that. However, securing the Wickeline is going to be a struggle. No one wants to let the other teams get positioning to get that wick for free. You might see it be damaged a little bit here, but they're going to kite off, not want to commit. Nizori and Madru here, they do start it up, and they are just kiting. They don't want to let Wick even hit them. Just poke it a bit. It'll start running away right there as we see, and they're just going to keep on spacing. However, Pit Kid with the engage.
Yeah, he gets in onto the stun. Blink cartridge going to be very quick, but it does get the distance for Madru to get away from Pit Kid. And because of that, the Yuki can't find his way in. He's struggling against this Adriana and the Aya. Going to be getting sniped down a little bit by that mastery skill, sniper skill coming out of the Aya. And once again, Nizori and Madru just able to chase away Prison Pit Kid. As much as Prison Pit Kid want this fight, the matchup between these two teams makes it so incredibly difficult for these two to actually force their way in.
The life of a melee test subject trying to
Ooh.
actually homecoming NA language find the opportunity to secure the wick line uncontested in pond. That is huge for them. Going back to the point about Pickett, however, the life of a melee going into test subjects like a Adriana, like an Aya, is really difficult. The Adriana is peeled so well. The sniper range that Madru has on that Aya is just way too insane. You have tools to space with all the oil, with the blank cartridge, with the disengage, roll away there as well. It's so hard. That's why we saw the aggressive coup de grace there from Pitkit on the Yuki in that initial engagement avenue. It didn't connect though, but we could see why he wanted to land that slow.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think, one big thing that we're going to need to touch on now is the fact that Homecoming and NA Language just stole away this wick line. They were able to just take it while all the posturing was happening from the other teams. And they have a lot of poke on the Sicella and this Hedgen. So any fight they have, they're going to be able to so easily apply that damage over time from the wick line buff. For the next 7 minutes, that is going to be a nightmare team to try and face up against.
Definitely so. Seeing not too much action, actually. We're nearing the end of day 3. There is still 15 players remaining. Would have expected there to be a lot fewer now. Homecoming and NA language, though, still in the pond area. Gonna be chilling. No one, again, really wants to fight them with that wick buff on the line. School is gonna maybe start with an engage here as Nozori and Madru are gonna be ran at.
Yeah, looks like they may want to start a fight here, but it does seem like teams are shying away from that a lot. It is the fact that placement does weigh more for points than kills, and a lot of these teams, after seeing how game 1 went, are a little bit wary of placing too low. They are playing a little bit safer, trying to shy away from any risky engagements, and we mostly just see teams taking ones that they know are incredibly favored, getting chase downs. But this is all going to come to a head as these zones start to shrink down even more. There will be a point where these teams cannot escape anymore. There will be fights happening, and I'm excited to see it. I can't wait because we're about to have all this tension build up to something massive.
Definitely. I think the last few zones here are going to be School, Alley, and Temple, it looks like. And as you mentioned, a lot of these players are going to start getting real next to or real near each other. Kier actually still trying to route on out, but he might actually not be able to get back into the zone. Wow, coup de grace whiffs there as well. D-skill, but it's not going to be enough. Kier will surely go down here against Gas Master.
Yeah, Kier going to be taking down his last Requiem played by Master on Heart here. Going to be finishing him off. That is going to be another kill going over to Skies and Master. They're doing very well for themselves. A lot of kills so far in the tournament. Even though their placement wasn't amazingly high last time, they were able to pick up some kills to help supplement that. And once again, 3 kills already in the lobby. They have the most so far. They've killed all but one of the players that have gone down so far in this one.
Definitely. And as you mentioned just a little bit ago, Cass, the placement points a lot of these players are playing towards, they're gonna make it a little bit not likely to fight in the early game here. We see it's 60 minutes in the game. We're at day 4. There's still 14 players left. They just want to be able to secure those placements. We see Turk and Leon Black just chilling, sitting in a bush. They don't want to be the ones engaging. They want a team to face check into them. They clean them up real quick, and then they just move on. Nozori and Madru checking all of these bushes. They move forward now, and while Turk and Leon look like they might want to do something about it, they're going to opt to not and just go back into School, where we might see a bit of an engage right now.
Yep, we may see an engage. Ooh, between the buses, we see Homecoming and NA Language finding that place to hide. Turk is pretty big, but they are going to run directly into Skaz, who lands a stun. Get the ultimate out from Master with the spin, able to continue to get that damage out as Turk and Leon Black are getting collapsed on. Madru's going to try and move through, but he's going to take a lot of damage from that bike from Skaz. Getting tagged up by Leon, and Madru's going to go down to Turk as Nozori will fall on the other side to Master, and that is going to be an elimination of Nozori and Madru as they get caught between a rock and a hard place with Turk and Skaz's teams respectively. Leon Black now going to be the target of the ire of Master. Going to be pushing forward on that heart as Goof online gets the third party on the top side of the fight going on to Turk. We get the ultimate down, the reactivation. Turk is caught in a corner and Master tries to get the last hit. We'll see who grabbed that in a moment as they do down Turk, and will try to just finish him off. as we did see Leon Black escape on that Leanox, but this is what we were talking about. The zones are now getting reduced, and with so many players, there is no way for you to get away. So the strategy of not fighting early on so that you don't get third-partied means that all fights will be third-partied at this point in the game.
Definitely. It's so hard to tell who's in a bad position. I thought I was like, okay, cool. Turk and Leon Black got out of there. But then the collapse there from Goofy and Collusion. You can go from a great spot to just a bad spot in but a second. Same with Piemaster there even. Skaz comes in to help, however.
Yeah, Tolkien pushing forward. Going to be able to get onto Piemaster and get the assassination with Pulty's help with that bite from Magnus. And now they turn their attention to Skaz, who's trying to run away on this Magnus as well. The Tolkien and Pulty know that they do not want to chase too much at this stage in the game. There are too many teams remaining, and they just want to grab the one kill that they can to better position themselves going into these final squares.
Yeah, while they very much could have chased there, it is very safe not to. Get the one kill and get out. You don't want to chase and then get third-partied at that point. Just take the kill and leave. Goofy trying to find an engage, popping the Kiara ultimate already, running into Pit Kid and Prismaticism. Not going to find anything for it, though, and now is the time where they're going to want to re-engage. Pit Kid's going to look for a stun here if he gets the opportunity.
Yeah, Pitkid does get the stun onto Goof online. He goes in with the dual sword Rampage. He misses the second activation though, but that is the coup de grace on Collusion. He drops incredibly low, and Prismaticism is on the hunt. We'll see. He does have his mobility come back up, and he catches up to Collusion, but that is the ultimate from Homecoming, not going to secure the kill. Collusion juking away a little bit more as he goes against his Heroes of the Storm brethren. They are going to take him down as they land the root onto Goof, and that is going to be the hedge in fear. This is a very tanky Kiara, so we'll see if the chase feels worth for them. And a dash forward from Pitkid is going to be met by Pulty and Tolkien. They're going to find Pitkid. He is going to go down, and Prismat now has to escape with his own life as we see Goof trying to go for the revive. Might be able to stick it. Collusion going to get picked up, but now that's just Magnus and Rozzy on the chase down. We see Goof runs into Priz. Priz going to try and steal that last hit away, maybe go for the kill, as we see Goof finally go down to Tolkien. He did get the revive onto Collusion though, so now this Emma has a chance to try and rat it out and survive, as we see even more players starting to collapse from the bottom side of Alley.
The opportunity to res is not there for Collusion and Goofy, getting finished off here by Tolkien and Pulte. Homecoming coming in here as well. Priz is actually going to be porting on back into Alley, see if he can get the res maybe onto Pit Kid. The opportunity is there if the port is going to be good, but I'm not sure. I think it went over to the other side of Alley. Tolkien and Pulte here just backing off. Is everyone going to be able to get resed here?
It was kind of a decent spawn, but it was a spawn within the vision of Homecoming and NA Language, and they pushed Priz away. So it looks like Pit Kid will be the casualty of this fight. Looks like Goof is probably going to go down on the top side as well. So there won't be any revives, and that is going to mean that a couple of these teams are going down a player as we move towards the final zone.
Yeah, thought there was possibility for perhaps a couple of reses, but not wanting to risk it, saying that there's too many teams in that area. We're just going to stick up with one alive. Gonna want to rat it around in Collusion, saying, you know, okay, thank God you didn't engage onto me there. But this final circle is closing right now as 8 players are still alive.
Yeah, we see a lot of traps starting to be set up in this zone. It is the final zone now. There are a couple Magnuses here, Skaz and Pulte trading blows, but Leon Black surviving as the last remaining player of his team. He's only got 4 seconds left, so he has to stay center zone to try and not run out of timer. Homecoming and NA Language have great position in the corner, but Tolkien takes down Skaz as the first casualty. Leon is just staying alive in the center. He can't leave the zone just yet, but Tolkien on this Rozzy is just slaying people left and right. Prismat, the Hedgen, the ultimate comes out. We're going to see if he gets any fears out of the zone. Homecoming going to trade some damage back onto that Hedgen. He's got NA Language on his back as well, helping him out, but Homecoming falling very low, moving on to this fire trap and escaping out of the zone. Tolkien low on HP as well, as Collusion trades back and forth on them with the Emma, getting a lot of damage down. Homecoming with the ultimate, and Priz steps out of the zone. Priz is going to pop. He's going to die, and Tolkien is going to pick up the kill onto Collusion, but now it is just Homecoming and NA Language with low health bars on Tolkien. Tolkien goes forward. He takes down Homecoming. He has no HP, but he has the lifesteal. He has the lifesteal, and he has enough, and he's going to take it, and they're going to win for the second game in a row. He picks up the first place with 8 kills this time.
Toki and Pulte. They were in such a rough spot for so long there, but still able to get that victory. I'm so surprised with Homecoming and NA Language's position there that they wouldn't be able to secure that victory. Oh man, that was some good stuff. Prismaticism, unfortunately, getting feared out of the zone, tried to step back in, was like 0.01 seconds left because he could have done a lot in the end zone there so that Toki and Pulte wouldn't be able to win. But there was just so much action there. And that's what happens when we get to a final zone there with, 8 players, 10 players remaining. That was some great stuff there. But Toki and Pulte, as you mentioned, cleaning up the lobby.
Absolute pandemonium in the final zone as we had that fight going back and forth. I'm with you. I thought Homecoming and NA Language in that corner that we're going to have it. And we saw Tolkien Pulte's life was so incredibly low. They had no HP, but they just continued to play through it. Tolkien just surviving with barely anything, utilizing those iframes very well, using that mobility and just pumping out enough damage. I mean, just outstanding play from these two. We had them low on our ratings going into this. We didn't expect as high of a performance. We know Tolkien is insane, but Pulte is brand new to the game, a brand new player that Tolkien brought along to kind of teach. And
Yeah.
in the in-houses, it looked like Pulte was struggling, but we get to tournament day, and this Magnus is looking kind of clean.
Really, really stepping up here. That's huge. And like you said, had them kind of low on the power rankings just because of Pulte's kind of freshness to the game. Saw a lot of times where Pulte was stepping up, getting punished, getting caught out, but not happening today. They're actually being so dominant, and Pulte's performance is huge here. Paired along with Tolki, is just going to be so insane. And no wonder they're able to get back to back first places here in Lobby A.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a crazy performance. We're going to jump over and check out the scores after game two before we head into game three and we'll see where we stand going into the final game of Lobby A. Tolkien Pulte should be pretty much guaranteed to make it through at this point. 64 points. I can't imagine they drop below the top four. I don't think they can. I think they're
No.
in. But below them, we've got Priz and Pit Kid, and then Skaz and Piemaster, who have had placements of fourth and sixth in the first two games, but they are getting a lot of kills, and that has made the difference in points. They picked up 5 kills in that last game with a sixth place, and they're still here in third overall. So Skaz and Piemaster doing a lot of work in these early games, and it is paying dividends. But Nazorian Madru and Turk and Leon Black going to be closing out that top five. Turk and Leon Black on that bubble we talked about earlier. Fifth place will be in a tiebreaker with fifth place from Lobby B later on to see who advances for that final lobby and competing for that $5,000 prize pool.
Yeah, we'll see who's going to be able to get that, but we won't know until Lobby B is completed later on into the day. I want to go back to the Cure and Lutano. Only 6 points to them. I had mentioned they could pop off, and they still can. There's actually still a chance for them to get into the top four, so they are not by any means out yet. If they get a 6 or 8 kill victory like we just saw, Tolki and Pulte have the past couple of games, they very well can secure their place in that fourth, maybe even fifth place slot. So we'll have to see though, because they really need to turn it up right now. And from the past couple of games, it's not looking like it. They're kind of just taking engages that they don't really want to be. They're getting punished for it by these very, very skilled players in the rest of the lobby.
Yeah, I mean, watching some of the in-houses that had a lot of these tournament players in there, they were actually having lobbies where they were kind of running it. They were getting a lot of kills early and just running through the lobby and ending games with like 8, 9, 10 kills. And it was like,
Yeah.
wow, okay, look at this. But they haven't been able to find that snowball just yet. They've lost their early engages, and because of that, they're losing out on a lot of points. And we'll see. Like you mentioned, they're not out of the game yet. They can definitely snag a top four or even just a top five position and just be sitting on that bubble waiting for later on in the day. So we can't count anyone out yet in this lobby. Everyone still has a chance to make it through by spiking this last game, but a lot of close scores outside of Tolkien Pulte. They're just kind of
Oh
right
yeah.
in the top of table 64. Everyone else, I mean, it's kind of a toss up to see who's going to be moving on. But if there's one team other than Tolkien Pulte that you were like, this, they're a lock, they're going to make it. What team do you think is kind of like that favorite in this group still going forward?
I would say for me, it's between either Homecoming in a Language or Skaz and Piemaster. I think Skaz and Piemaster I'd slightly lean towards though, because while their placements haven't been great, you mentioned I believe it was fourth and sixth, they have still been doing good at getting early kills, so that it kind of mitigates even if they do have a bad placement. And they can play both sides of that spectrum, right? They can just get early kills, maybe get punished, but they also can just play placements as well. They are very solid players. They know how to play the game. They're going to know what's up in this duos format here, so they very well can just get a good solid placement in this game number three and move on to the finals because of it.
Yeah, I mean, the question on everyone's mind though is, as we launch into this game number 3, are they going to be on 2 new characters?
Yeah.
That is the question.
Looks like they are pretty comfortable with maintaining this heart and Magna style here. My main question is, what are Homecoming and Any Language going to do? They've swapped it up a couple of times now, and it looks like with the not lock in there, but the hover at least for the Hedgen, yeah, it's going to still be Sicella and Hedgen there for Homecoming and Any Language. And that's not surprising to me. Even though they got actually 0 kills in game number 1, they still played beautifully to get that second place. They had great positioning on the zone. And if that fight was just a little bit better from them, they could have got that first.
Yeah, I mean, the big notable change that we see is actually Blizz going off the heart, gonna go to Hedgen, and
Yep.
we saw History Teach on the Luke. We talked about
Oh,
you kind of need a home run in this game. You gotta need to knock it out of the park. And I think playing a bat character like Luke coming in, I think that's the best way that History Teach and Blizz are gonna find a big point game and look for the win.
yeah, we'll see if it's able to be enough. Luke, I have mixed feelings about that test subject here. Great on launch, did get nerfed literally, less than 24 hours after being released, and for good reason. But still, in the hands of a good Luke player, he's going to be able to do a lot of impact. I wonder if History Teacher is going to be a solid Luke player, though. We will see as we load into the game now. Game number 3, Kieran Lutano once again starting up in the alley, and I okay, this has mixed feelings for me because if you've had the placements that Kieran Lutano have had so far, maybe you're like, okay, we need to switch it up. Something needs to change to be able to pop off. Maybe they're just so comfortable with that route there. They're so practiced on it, and they recognize that they need or that they can make the adjustments they need to make to have a better placement in this game. It'd be hard to say until we get a couple more minutes into the game, however. But Pit Kid moving on over into Alley. Gonna run into Leon Black here, but they're both just gonna be looting and on out, not really wanting to go into any engages here.
I think what's really scary for Lutano and for Cure is this route is an Erendite Yuki. They're gonna want to go to Factory, and Piemaster and Skaz are already there. Piemaster's gonna finish the Teen Spirit. He's gonna be on that purple weapon, and that heart, we saw what it did last time. It
Oh yeah.
might be able to do it again, and I'm very worried for Cure and Lutano going into the Factory.
Definitely, we see Kira's close to master there. I don't think they've quite met there into getting tangled up, but Kira is starting to move towards them, dashes away. It looks like from the mini map there, and is just going to continue to loot the other way. It says, "Oh, you
Yep.
guys are over there? Yeah, no, no, thank you. I'm going to loot up towards my teammate here with Lutano, and we're not going to make the same mistakes as last game. I hope."
Yeah, very afraid of that heart. I think Piemaster, going for that Teen Spirit build is going to be so strong at these stages. And I think if Lutano and Cure recognize that and know, hey, we probably shouldn't fight this Magnus Heart duo in Factory. We should grab our loot, play a lot slower, try and play out for placements because we're playing AR ISOL. I believe they're still playing the AR ISOL, which is going to scale very well in those later zones, especially because ISOL is so great in Final Zone with his Trap
Yeah.
Mastery.
Especially able to farm up that trap mastery as Essos like to do. It means your final zone, if you have position there, should just be kind of free there. And yes, we do see confirmation. Lutano is playing AR ISOL. AR, you don't want to fight early. You want to scale. You want to maybe get the Tree of Life for that Laurel Wreath. And that's going to be your power spike moving into the late game. You're complemented by Yuki, who's kind of good in all scenarios in the game. But actually, Leon and Turk, once again, a dog, getting aggressive.
Yeah, running it back once more, but every time Tolki has escaped and then gone on to win the lobby, but this time Polti is getting caught out in the Magnus, not quite as good at running away as the Razi is, and this team that has gotten first place in both games prior is going to lose a member very early on. Tolki trying to go for the outplay, does get the down onto Leon Black, so 1 kill will be awarded to his team, but first place 2 in a row, let's go for a 9th this time around. Tolki and Polti get taken down by Turk and Leon Black.
Yeah, it's smart actually. They get a bit of a break, they're already probably locked into the finals. Like, all right, we can just chill, we can scout out all these other teams. So, don't want to say it's tactical or not, but it's not going to be the worst thing in the world. But Pickett actually falling very early here to this 3-duo fight here in the pond area.
Yeah, going to get caught in between Homecoming and NA Language and Goof as alongside Collusion. And now Homecoming still wants to fight a little bit more, or at least to trade Mastery. It feels like they don't want to commit, but they also want the loot from Pit Kid. They do, they're going to try and find that. Priz actually goes for the res. is going to get polyed on his teleport. So he's not able to get away just yet. As Collusion tries to chase forward, he's going to teleport onto Priz. He might be able to find that. That was a great polymorph from Collusion on this Emma. And now Prismat is stuck on the hedge. And he's actually stuck. He should go down as Collusion tries to auto him away. Priz just trying to find an angle to teleport away once more, but one more polymorph, this time not being there for the TP. And because he didn't hold it this time, Prismat does get away, as on the other side of the map, Highmaster takes down Cure.
That is huge for Prismat. There are some great side steps waiting for that E to come back up to go over the pond little river there. So Prismat now still is alone, but this is so important seeing as this is the last game of this group. You're going to need those placement points to come online if you're going to be able to secure any higher placements. But Cure and Lutano, what a day for them. They go out again pretty early and they are definitely not moving forward, unfortunately, for them.
Yeah, I mean, this is the last game of the lobby, and they were near the bottom, so this placement is not going to be enough. You know, unfortunately for Khroen and Lutano, that is just all but ensuring them going to be eliminated from the tournament so far. But Piemaster and Skaz finding 2 more kills in the early game. This is exactly what they needed. You know, they've been aggressive early on. Their placements haven't been amazing, but the third overall, not a comfy third, however. The points are still very close between a lot of these teams, and they need a solid game to ensure that they're going to move on.
It is getting comfier and comfier by the second. However, there's already 2 teams eliminated. They do have 2 kills. As long as they get a couple maybe placement points higher, they should be feeling pretty good about that one. We do get a chance to see the Luke and the Hedge in here, and that's going to be a boat that not a lot of players build on the Hedge. And yeah, it has an earlier power spike, but it's not going to be as good as the Elemental Bow, however. But early power spikes, I don't blame you if you want to play for those.
Yo, Khroen, I think Nizori starts with the Blazing Dress, actually. I'm on to him right now. I think that's it. You know, he's loaded into the game. He's got a Blazing Dress already. He's had it all 3 games. It feels like we check in and he's on Blazing Dress. He just got a Mithril Shield too. These 2 are stacked right now. Is Modra finishing Auto Arms? Please tell me he's not finishing Auto Arms.
Oh,
he's finishing Auto Arms. Okay. Oh, these 2 have gotten so stacked every game.
That is insane. Blazing Dress, Auto Arms, and we're not even but like 30 seconds into day 2 here. That's going to be a huge power spike. It comes into what engages they do find, though. Just because you have the items doesn't mean you guaranteed are going to be able to get the kills because of it. But I have to see what happens when we move on out of that beach area. Goof and Collusion here. Goof not on an accessory quite yet. Maybe building one here. Could be going for that white crane fan. Actually just finishing on out on other crafts, it looks like right now, though. But Skaz and Piemaster.
Ooh, the combo. They pulled it off. They pulled off the combo. This is the Heart Magnus combo. Heart's ultimate does make everybody dance, but it does not interrupt certain abilities, such as Shukai's ultimate and Magnus's spin. So we see the combination happening here. Magnus starts the spin on top of Blizz. Piemaster goes for the ultimate. Blizz cannot get away and gets caught within that spin. I wouldn't be surprised if Skaz is actually maxing that ability so that they can get value out of it.
I would think so. I think if I'm correct, it might be a bit of a skill amp there on that Magnus as well for that build. You'll have to see a bit later, but now Skaz and Piemaster maybe sniffing out the rat here. History teacher is alone, but just moves on over to left side of beach here. Looks like they are going to, with Skaz Piemaster, move on into the uptown area. Madru here, though. Oh, no. The history teacher cannot catch a break right now. Probably has to burn some timer. Moving on into hotel. Probably pour it out from there, or at least run into school area.
Yeah, it looks like he'll have to move in and potentially just teleport out, or he can go to school. But wow, the snipes are coming out. Because they still want this. Nizori chasing very heavily. And still, Madru on the minimap, we see moving through. They actually want to follow on to History Teacher. They're really looking for this kill. But History Teacher does have a lot of movement speed here on the Luke, and he's going to be able to get away from that one.
Yeah, White Rhino's completed boots. Just going to be able to move on over into school here, but you might not want to stop there. Luckily, Madru and Nizori are not continuing to give chase here. Madru completing the Burgonet, but moving up towards History Teacher yet again. Does Madru check the bush? Oh, History Teacher just runs out of it instead, saying, nope, I'm out of there. Not going to get punished for it, though.
Yeah, he is able to get out of that one. Going to continue to rat away, see if he can get some extra points, try and find a way to get his team, you know, into maybe that 5th place position, 4th place position, trying to make it through. If he can rat away to maybe a 2nd place here, find some third-party kills, something. History Teacher's going to have to make a miracle happen. get through.
Exactly. And miracle really needs to happen. Not only do you need to rat into that like, second, third, probably even first place, you need to get some kills on top of it as well, I think, to make sure that you advance. Maybe with ratting into like a one kill second or like a one kill first or something, you could get into that fifth place bubble from their position, but we'll have to see how it shapes out towards the end of this lobby. We do have a minute and 15 left on that Wiccaline spawn, but some players are still at the opposite side of the map. Skaz and Piemaster still looking to just get aggressive, look for some kills here, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like they are. I mean, 3 kills already in this game. These two have been the most aggressive of anybody else in this lobby, I would say. You could argue Kieran Lutano, but that didn't work out for them. It's worked out for Piemaster and Skaz as they continue. I really liked this adaptation to the Heart Magnus. They've really been utilizing that early build path that Heart has with the Team Spirit and just snowballing as best as they can with some early kills. And I really love that style of play.
Definitely. And as I mentioned earlier, it is the skill amp build on that Magnus. It's not like full skill amp, but it's just enough to whereas if they do pull off that combo again with the Magnus spin into the Heart Ultimate, you can get a lot of damage off in that time, seeing as it won't be canceled there. Collusion on the Emma has the Dobok completed as well. Not only does it give the range for auto attacks, but it gives the CDR, which Emmas really, really do love there. Wiccaline spawning in 10 seconds, but nobody is in Avenue currently. Looks like Nozori and Maju are making their way over there. And while Prismaticism and Pitkid usually do like going for it, Pitkid is down. So Prismat just going to be staying in the temple area. Probably not going to be able to secure Wick this game.
Yeah, that's actually that Emma build is very interesting because it's Mystic Jade Charm, which only has the 10 charges alongside a Dragon Dobok. Normally you want the Fuma Shuriken with it so that you're able to utilize that attack range and attack quite a bit. And I wonder if Collusion's path got a little bit messy and he just needed to go for the Jade Charm, as we see Madru and Nozori with perfect Wick control showing up right on spawn. Look at that build from Madru. Just talk about it. You take it. I can't anymore. I can't with these two.
Queen of Hearts, Auto Arms, and Deadly Ray build. You, for that, need a Moonstone, VF Blood, and a Force Core. What kind of... Oh, Mr. Spell, he has the teeth in there, getting taken out. But yeah, only so long you can last for that ratting. But man, that Madru build, though, it's so terrifying. And now, on top of that, Sniper Aya with Wiccaline, if they have any sort of positional advantage, it is going to be literally impossible for them to get bullied out of anywhere.
Just as a note, he had that all pre-Wick. They just got Wick after, so they have another Force Core for remote mines, I would imagine. They can have more things to try and build stuff out for Nozori if they need. I mean, that is insanity that they had all of these things already built prior. I can't. I mean, they are so strong right now with Wick. The one thing that they don't have is kills, so maybe their mastery is a little bit lower than that of Piemaster and Skaz, but I think this more than makes up for it.
Definitely. Madru is on 11 mastery right now. Not sure of the others. Maybe we'll get that info. Because I would be curious to see, masteries of Turk and Leon and Skaz and Piemaster, because that's really going to be one of the major kind of factors leading into this kind of mid to end game scenario. There was a bit more kills this game than the last one. 11 players remaining at the kind of end of day 3, at least the day phase of it. But have to see where that shakes up once we reach to our end game zones there. Will there still be a scenario where there's like 8 to 10 remaining there? There's no there's only one solo player remaining here, as we see with Prismaticism, and Prismat is really struggling here. Doesn't have boots, doesn't have the arm piece, just staying in temple, farming out enough mastery that he can, but as soon as he recognizes that people are coming into temple, he just wants to hide here. He doesn't want to get found, just wants to rat for those placements, because with that, if he rats till maybe like a third or something, we'll probably be able to move forward. We'll have to see, though.
Yeah, I mean, quick mastery update. Madru actually is the highest in the lobby. And then Piemaster and Skaz and Turk and Leon are all hovering around 9 or 10, with Madru sitting at 11, making his way towards 12. So Madru might be the first one to hit that 14 mastery on that Sniper Aya with a Wick buff. I mean, that would be absurd alongside having Deadly Ray. As they're collapsing onto Homecoming and NA language, they have the Wick buff. They're trapping them in a corner with Nozori's spells here, and that is just going to be NA going down immediately. Homecoming stuck in a really tough spot, getting hit by the snipes from Madru, as one more is going to come through, and that is 2 kills going over to Madru on this Sniper Aya.
Yeah, you cannot straight up fight this team right now. It's just not going to go well for you. Not only do they have all module items, but Nizori also has the Blazing Dress and a Mithril Shield even now as well. 5 RNG items between them. Drops the Blazing Dress actually to pick up something else. I wonder what that was. We can check it out in a little bit here. Blood Sample being dropped in the zone there. They just have so much going for them. That was, their first kills of the game, however, but I would not be surprised to see them pick up even more, especially, again, Wick Buff's still online, and we saw the power of their composition right there in that fight. So I would be surprised if they can do it again against others.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think everyone's going to want to avoid them until that Wick buff is done. We see Skaz trying to chase after Prismaticism here. I think Prismat should be able to get away on this Hedgeon. He's got a couple walls here that he can utilize the extended range of the E by casting it in the middle of the wall. Try and make a big jump. We'll see if Priz has practiced those enough that he's got a good opportunity. That's a little bit of a short one. Pymaster's going to continue to chase. The charm not going to land, but the slow will. And Pymaster doesn't want to give this up. Priz doesn't have a lot of ways to escape just yet. And Skaz with the stun, that's probably going to be enough. They're going to pick up the kill onto Priz. He wasn't able to find a good jump, not a good wall to jump quite yet.
Yeah, couldn't even make it over to that forest one where you could have gone that jump towards the hotel area, because notably, again, Prismat didn't have shoes. He's being run down so fast by Pymaster and Skaz there. Had to go over the wall. We actually saw him loot the body of a history teacher there, trying to maybe find some shoes to put on just to get a bit of that movement speed, but wasn't able to find enough there. So Skaz Pymaster getting their 4th kill of the game, the highest kill in this lobby right now, but Madru and Nizori running into Leon Black. Leon Black with the pull.
Yeah, Leon Black does land the pull onto Madru, but the Wick buff is there for Nizori and Madru, and they have remote mines and smart bombs here to answer as Leon Black jumps into the brush, takes so much damage, and now Madru gets to chase down with the blam blam on the Aya, trying to take him down. That's going to be this sniper skill, trying to get enough damage down, and Leon is going to fall. But chat, make sure to tell us how to make smart bombs for anybody who may want to know, as they do have smart bombs in the inventory. We saw them being used there to make this fight turn around. Even with the hook onto Madru, there just was not enough damage, and those traps helped really turn the tides of that fight.
Yeah, they put that so well. Honestly, it looked like a great engage there, re-engage by Leon Black and Turk there with the hook, but roll away there from Madru, and they set up traps in that bush when they came on the corner beautifully. This is being played so well. Turk is still alive. They do still have 3 kills here, so a pretty solid performance in this game. But Turk actually sitting that spot that I referenced earlier. He's sitting in the cool spot, but Madru knows. He found him. Turk being forced to run into alley. He does have full timer remaining, or at least did, so he's going to be able to port on out of there. Does he port to a safe spot?
Skaz has gone down.
Oh,
Skaz has gone down. We see our observers got us over here to collusion fighting Skaz and Pymaster. Skaz went down in this fight though, so it is Goof and collusion going to be picking up the kill onto Skaz, going to be able to take that loot. And now Pymaster is left all alone. Potentially will need to team up with Turk later on to see if they can fight their ways back into this. Both of them really wanting to get a higher placement this game, so it might be more likely that they go for a 1v1 if they run into each other.
1v1, yeah, probably, as opposed to teaming up there. We'll have to see. However, you could team up a bit and then kind of be like, yoink, just get the last hit on their partner when they actually do go into an engage. I have to find out if that situation does come to fruition there, because they might meet up soon in that dock in Huptown area. The zone's gonna be closing soon. The final 3 zones gonna be beach, forest, and school. Have to see what the last one will be, because the final zone, it's obviously centers around that console. Depending on which console it is, can kind of change up this last dynamic here. Looks like Turk actually might face check into collusion and Goof. Oh no,
he notices. He knows, but he's only got 15 seconds left on the timer. There's not really anywhere for him to go. He's gonna have to try and make his way back in. He's got only 5 seconds remaining. He's going to have to try and do some Rozzy stuff to run past them, or he can try and sit in this corner. He's playing with vision quite well. They don't know he's there.
Yeah, I don't think that they know how low Turk's timer was, so they're going to check the other side here, but they thought Turk maybe just went to the TP and ported out at that point. Turk, great identification there, knowing that he could deny the vision there on this timer, because if he didn't, he just would be dead here 100%. Goof and collusion, however, still going to be moving up into the forest area. Last zone will be beach now, but Nozori and Madru still being the threats of this game. No
Ooh.
more Wickeline buff at this point here, but they are still so ridiculously strong. Madru actually swapping the auto arms for the Mithril Shield. I mean, Nozori has the auto
Actually, Missouri has Scotty.
Oh,
So,
okay, never mind. It's
what do
dropping
you think?
auto arms.
Yeah,
They're
what do
so
you think of
rich.
that? Is it just the Mithril Shield? What stats do you think Madru wants? Is it the move speed?
Maybe the move speed. Attack speed obviously not going to be too great. You only have one shot in that deadly ray. But I think the move speed is going to be pretty solid there. Just make sure you can't get
Oh,
caught. And speaking of getting caught, Piemaster getting caught by one snipe here, and that just
500.
does significant damage. Yeah, 500 damage there, and that's like literally almost a third of Piemaster's HP bar here. Nozori is going to get
Ooh,
the
great
ultimate
ulti.
charges, is going to get the catch here on Piemaster. I would be surprised if this doesn't result in a kill.
Back-to-back great ultis from Nizori, knocking this heart back into them, and now Madru just has to chase down. It's the Blam Blam gonna do the blank cartridge and land the stun. Just a few more hits, stepping between the mithril strings with Piemaster, but he's still gonna go down. Madru, actually the highest mastery in the game, was at 15, might be even higher after that engage, as we do see Turk finally gonna get caught, and it will just be a 2v2. Collusion and Goof online versus Nizori and Madru for this final area. Madru, though, is so strong, does have that tier 2 of the mastery skill, being past 14 already, and will be able to get so much damage down with the snipes if they can get a good setup. We saw some smart bombs and remote mines earlier. I don't know how many they have left, but they had a wealth of resources, and I would not be surprised if they found it, especially because seeing as how they are ERBS creators, we know that they know the smart bomb recipe, and we know that chat also knows the smart bomb recipe.
Definitely. Thanks to the chat, giving us that information there. Wonder if they have any more of those remote mines or smart bombs there. But oh man, the
Oh my
sniper's still coming out. It
god.
just does so much damage, especially when you recognize Madru is so high mastery, going to be over 14 at this point. Having the tier 2 weapon skill is that build with a deadly ray and Queen of Hearts here is just going to be so strong. They have pendulum axes, they have
Okay.
guillotines, they probably have more mithril string as well. It's so difficult for Collusion and Goof to get into the zone, let alone just win the straight up fight. And they're just being bullied out already at this point. Goof tries to go in with the rapier skill, pops ultimate, but gets caught by the double guillotine and the pendulum axes. Where did he go?
He can't play. He can't play. And now he's just getting sniped from across the map here. The sniper skill. Madru on 16 plus mastery. Collusion and Goofy are not even to the 14 yet. So Madru is going to continually just stat check them here on this sniper Aya. Blam Blam doing about 20% of Goof's health every single time.
This is just so rough for Collusion and Goof. If you are recognizing a spot where you can do something, it's right now, where Madru and Nozori aren't on the point, but remote mine, smart bomb's already set up. You have to get the camera, you have to be able to auto these down, but if you're Goof, you're melee, and if you're Collusion, you only have, 10 or 8 charges in that weapon. 4, it seems, remaining right now. You just can't deal with all of this. The zone has closed. 20 seconds left for Goof and Collusion. They can't even make their way in the zone, however, Cass.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to get in here. I mean, this is so doomed. There's so many traps. The root onto Goof, that he does not land the root onto Madru. Madru giving him the thumbs up as they take him out with all the mines, the traps of the zone. I mean, this was just a clean execution from Madru and Nizori. There was no way anybody but them were going to win this game.
Definitely, and it looks like that for the majority of the game, however, they got so accelerated from RNG items, and they recognized how to propel that advantage into even more of an advantage, able to secure all of those traps, the pendulum axes, remote mines, smart bombs. You see at 18 mastery as well on Madru. Nozori even got up to 14 there at the end. That was beautifully executed from start to finish there from Nozori and Madru, and that is the kind of prowess that we can see out of these ERBS content creators. They know what's up. They know how to play the game, and they know how to get lucky in their RNG items as well.
Good players get good items. That's what we always say, and Nizori and Madru found some very good items there. We've got Goofy Collusion next, and then Leon Black and Turk. But Skaz and Piemaster, again, kind of a middle of the pack placement in 4th, but 4 kills, and we'll see if that can propel them to keep that top 4 spot. I imagine it does, but we will be waiting for those to get all tallied up. I mean, was there anyone else in here? I guess Priz and Kit Kid we got to talk about, because
Yeah.
they did not have a great placement here. And although they scored a lot of points in the first 2 games, it could get a little dicey.
It could. I'd be curious, really, to see how it shakes out here. We know from the placements, obviously, unfortunately, Karen Lutano are not going to be moving forward. Don't think History Teacher and Blizz are as well. We know, of course, Tulky Pulty, they're moving
Yeah,
through.
they're in.
With that placement by Nazori and Madru there, they're going to be for sure in. But those other, middle of the pack teams, we'll have to see how that shakes out because after those games, some of the power rankings that we kind of came into today
Shattered
making
in
they
shambles.
are they are a little bit shattered, a little bit in shambles there, to say the least there, and we definitely have to, at least me, I have to reevaluate what we do moving forward here as we go to Lobby B and then the finals after that.
Yeah, of course, just a reminder for chat that the top four will be guaranteed moving on to the finals later today. The fifth place team, will be on the bubble waiting for the results of Lobby B. And we do have the scores, we have the results ready for you now. We're going to jump over to it and see
Oh,
Tolki and Pulte going to be in that first place. They are going to be moving on. Nizori and Madru moving on. Skaz and Piemaster moving on. And Prismat and Pitkid sneaking on in. Going to be advancing. Turk and Leon Black on the bubble, but that is a good amount of points that they put up.
44 points, yeah, narrowly missing out on that guaranteed fourth place lock, but that is not too shabby at all. There's some surprises here, though. Homecoming NA Language thought they would be a team to be threatening to advance, but they're actually going to be out in seventh here. Collusion and Goofy. Didn't really expect too much from them in the day, but honestly, an impressive performance. They almost got to that fifth place ranking there, but with all of these top four teams, Toki Pulte, Nozori Maju, Skaz Pie Master, Prismat Pit Kid, like they're all so strong competitors, and so not surprised to see them moving forward here.
Yeah, for sure. I think that my the ones who most impressed me, or if I was gonna pick a player who most impressed me, it was actually Pulte
Pulte,
because
yeah,
of the
same.
fact that Pulte, when we watched previously, because we've been kind of like scouting these players out, because they've all been, we talked about it at top of the show, they've all been grinding the game, getting themselves ready, playing all these in houses, and I felt like Pulte was having a little bit of a hard time being brand new to the game. But it seems like Tolki's coached him up and Pulte's ready to go because he looked great on that Magnus in these games, and they were able to get the first place in Lobby A and advance
Yeah.
themselves on to the finals later on today.
That being said, however, you can't quite forget though what happened in game three. While they did win games one and two, Pulte did kind of get caught out a little bit in that dock area. It's kind of the Turk and Leon classic. They
Yeah.
control the docks. Dock is their home, and Pulte was in the wrong neighborhood over there. But honestly, I wouldn't be too worried. I think that while that's something to address, Pulte still has impressed, as you mentioned, probably the most impressive
Most
player, at
improved.
least most improved, impressive player, at least at this point in the tournament. So I have great expectations for them moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will be moving forward very soon. We do have Lobby B coming up next, but we are going to be taking a short break. Don't go anywhere. Lumia Mania will return.